Hi. So, do you face issues with your boss at work? Do you have a difficult boss who, very, it's very difficult for you to deal with him? So, in this, hi, this is Abhinav Gulecha. I'm a mindfulness coach. In this video, I'll be giving you some tips and some insights. See, I have also spent like 15 plus years in corporate world, and I have had my share of difficult bosses. So, I'm just giving you some tips and insights and some perspectives that can help you look at this situation from a different view, right? So, let's start. I have just made some points, so I'll just take them through. See, first of all, we need to understand. See, who is a boss, right? Who is a boss? Boss is also human, like you and me. Today, you are at a lower level in the organization, and like it's a matter of only few years you will be reaching to his position, right? When you reach his position, then you will be able to come to know of the challenges that he is facing, right? It's very very easy as a subordinate to like develop a kind of assumptions about the person who is managing you. Managing people is not easy, right? Being good at a particular work, being talented in a particular domain is easy, comparatively easy. But managing people, managing different mindsets, it's not easy. And see, please understand one thing is that how we get promoted in organizations, I can only talk about Indian organizations, not foreign ones, is basically it's depending upon the domain level expertise that you have. Nobody gets promoted on how good he is managing people. Yes, what happens is that skill is starting that skill starts to get looked at very very senior positions, but from like very at a junior to middle level, promotions are mostly on your results that you are getting. So what happens is that the bosses are also like focused only on getting the results, and for them employees, their subordinates are basically means to get the results, right? So it's very very result focused at only at a very senior level. Then it's all comes about how to manage a team, how to take a team together and all, because then the pressure is not so much on the results, but the pressure is to maintain a good team, right, at a core level team in the company. So please understand, the boss is also human. He is also like you, and he is not perfect. Like you are not perfect, you have your flaws, right? So today I give you two three people to manage, right? And then all the flaws will come out from you, right? So similarly, he is also in his learning journey. He is also having his flaws. See, I'm not trying to justify his bad managing. I'm just trying to give you a better perspective, right? So that is one thing. Second is, as I said, not we are not like nobody gives training on how to manage people. So you get training on a lot of technical aspects, and in companies they also give training on how to manage people, but that is what I have seen mostly. It's superficial training. You go there, 1 or 2 day workshop is there, they teach about how to manage different employees, and this is like mostly kind of a superficial training, right? The person also knows, the boss also knows that what will get him promoted, what will help him be secure in his position is the results that he gives to his boss, right? And these are all superficial matters. And also in Indian workplaces, the HR standards are very very poor, right? So don't expect your boss to be very HR kind of who values human resources and all. Forget that. See, let's talk practical here, right? So he knows that the results will give him security. He also knows that he will be able to only retain the team by when he delivers the results. So there is a lot of push that he exerts to get the results. Then he is also insecure, right? Like you are insecure about your position in the company, he is also insecure about, and that insecurity most many times motivates him, or kind of to take rash results, to shout at people, or to take wrong calls with people, right? Now another perspective you might consider is that he may also be facing issues in his family life, or any other factors like for example, he may have lost interest in his job. See, any good thinking manager will understand one thing, that if his employees are not if his team is not happy, then the results will not come. But some people don't have that maturity, right? So and then he might be having issues with his in his personal life. He might have lost interest in this job. He might be also looking out somewhere. right? Or it sometimes lot of politics happens in terms of that you have joined a particular job, your manager did not want you, he wanted something else, someone else, but the top management put you, I mean you were hired into that position, right? And he could not exert his influence, that's why he sometimes doesn't like you, right? So all these kind of politics and all these factors also are at play, right? So please kind of bring all these things also in your mind, right, before reaching to conclusions. So what we need to do in such situations, first what I will suggest is discuss, communicate. Lot of times we just you develop your judgments about that person, he develops his judgment about you. Discuss. If it's not in the work setting, maybe take him to a coffee shop or any kind of a relaxed location where you both can like free up, and you can put your concerns and you can communicate to him that see these are the concerns your behavior has, so these certain concerns that I am facing with your behavior. So first of all, if the boss is good, and sometimes he also doesn't know that you are facing these concerns, he will immediately kind of, it will strike him that, oh sorry, I mean I was not aware that you are facing these concerns, I'll be more mindful of these things in future, right? So that is the best outcome that you can think, right? Another thing, be ready, is that sometimes the boss may be not very good with you. Think, if is there a situation where the boss is very good with others in his behavior and not good with you? Is it because of your performance or your attitude? Sometimes we look too much outside, we don't look inside. Now please understand, when you join a particular job, within a span of like 10-15 days, 1 month, you should be able to align your working with what your boss desires, right? So I've had bosses which did not like colors, any color formatting in Excel sheet, and he tells me first time, second time, and then the third time also I do color formatting in the Excel sheet, then he is bound to get angry, no? Right? So what, always also be mindful that, is there some issue with my own performance or my own attitude? Do I like come late or leave early or spend time loitering outside, right, in work hours? Is it, are these things, because see some bosses are very kind of open to talk, some bosses don't talk, but then this is like in a passive aggressive way they communicate that they don't like something. So what I will request you, build a build a line of communication, open the line of communication, be ready to take feedback, that is there something that I need to see, you want to remain in this organization, you don't want to like quit organizations and move to another organization and then move to another organization, because you will find, always you will find bosses, one form or the other, someone will have some imperfection. So you will need to know that how best I can you know deal in this current situation. So take feedback that what I need to change, and I am putting my concerns, please see if there is something we can work out together, right? So have that kind of an attitude. Now coming to the situation that, okay, when you have to take a call on what to do in terms of having a difficult boss, please understand that it's all about the action that you need to take, is about the degree of difficulty that you have. Now if it's a mild difficulty, that means the boss is like, there are some minor issues. Now understand this, you are in a job, you are not like, it's not play, right? In a job, there will always be some of the other issues, otherwise it will not be a job, it will be fun, it will be play. And sadly, it's we are still in a job, we are not doing any fun or play here. So there will be mild issues, always with all bosses there will be those issues. So if that is the case, then continue, then don't if these things bother you, then it's a matter of actually looking deep into yourself, that whether you are going deep, you have a strong inner core, I'll come to that thing, right? So mild issues you can continue, see, it will be in each organization. You never know, you quit this job and you go to another job and you will find maybe a worse boss there, right? So it's like said, no, I just forgot that the devil that you can see is better than the devil that you cannot see, right? So right, so this is, if it's mild, then continue, right? All kind of people are there, and you are also not perfect. But second is abusive, right? High a high degree of difficulty. High degree of difficulty means the boss is abusive, right? He uses kind of wrong words, right? wrong words, or he calls you at odd hours, or expects you to be available at odd hours, or like he wants you to send an email at like 11:30 in the night, right? You don't have any personal life. He will always be watchful. He will not give you leaves on occasions. He will deliberately try to kind of, you know, create problems for you. Then for women employees, it may be like bosses who give like sexual colored remarks, or any form of sexual harassment, right? Or shouting, right? Shouting in front of others, right? All these things. Now, in these cases, what I will suggest is, see, it's all very good to, kind of go to the HR and a lot of things, and create a ruckus and complaints. I'm talking here about practical things, wise things, right? I'll come to that things also. In those situations when it becomes very difficult, and one very important thing what I will suggest is, start discovering these things in the first for 1 or 2 months only. Don't like wait for like 6 months and see the pain and then decide that I want to move out of the organization. So if you have joined in an organization, so first of all, before joining the organization, you should have done some form of due diligence on the boss, on the person you will be reporting to. See, the world is very small. You should be having a good network that you can like find out through LinkedIn and all, who is, how is the reputation of that person, right? So if you have not done that, if you had to join desperately in a particular company, and you just know that, okay, from today I'm having this boss, and you find him to be abusive, or kind of he passes some sexual remarks and all those things, immediately prepare your exit plan, right? You can have a discussion with him, you can post your concerns to him, but if you see there is no resolution happening, start prepare your exit plan. Prepare to leave this company, right? Don't think about that I will teach this person a lesson, or having those revengeful feelings in you. There's no use. What you will be doing is that you will be actually harming yourself only. You will be harming your own peace. So what we need to do, what we want to do is, so there can be different views here, and some of you may be having a different view on these matters. I am perfectly fine with that, but what for me is more important is my own peace, right? And even you talk about all these sexual harassment, all the committees and all in these organizations, you don't know, and maybe some of you would know, that they really don't function the way they are intended to. There is a lot of politics happening there also, right? So I will not get into those things. So finally, it's your decision what you want to do, but I will suggest is, start doing something, rather than always being in your mind and always making these stories and what will happen to me, or I will take revenge against him. Start doing something. So prepare your exit plan, start putting out the resumes for your, and start giving interviews, because today you give the interview, then what will happen is that it will take some 2-3 months for you to get another job, or it may be even longer, right? What I will very very highly suggest is, don't take offense with your boss at the time of your leaving. See, it's a small world. Even when you go to another job, they generally take a reference from your previous boss, right? So his reference, if it's poor reference, then it can impact your chances in your next job. So always, whatever has happened, leave on good terms, right? Leave it on good terms, right? It should like be very kind of, I'm like asking you to be wise here. Don't be childish that you pick up a fight with him, and over emails and all those things, because see, these things, the word will spread out in the organization and goes beyond the organization. Nobody will know who is right or who is wrong. So unnecessary, don't create a ruckus, leave on good terms, find a different job, right? So okay. Okay, and ensure that you and that person is on, at least on talking terms, right? Because there are sometimes, there is some other issue, you might have to go back to that person, right? So okay, now also look at the organizational culture. Now see, understand this. It's like when you see a boss shouting, abusive and all those things, somewhere that organizational culture also has a role to play. Some organizations I've seen, they do not tolerate, they some organizations I've seen, they are very okay with these, and there only those people get promoted who do all these things, right? And there are some organizations who have a zero tolerance policy for these things. They will not tolerate people mismanaging other people, shouting at other people, or any form of sexual harassment, they have a zero tolerance policy for that. So it also depends upon what is the organizational culture of the organization that you are joining, right? That is also very important, right? Now I am taking about some issues, like one issue what people do is that they go to the skip level. Like I go and talk to the boss of my boss. So first thing I will suggest is first talk to your boss, sort out the issues if it can be sorted out. Skip level is a risky strategy. Now skip level, what happens is that you have to be very clear on what is the equation between your boss and his boss. Generally what happens, why your boss is managing dealing in a very aggressive way with the team, is because he has the support of the top boss, his boss. And his boss is basically focused on only getting results, and this person, that means your boss, is giving him the results that he wants, right? So there is a very good tuning between the both of the people. So if you go and talk to the skip level person, then what happens is that it can actually backfire on you, right? Because at the end of the day, that skip level boss will be telling him that this guy has come and he had certain kind of concerns against you. So be very clear on the integrity of the skip level boss. It may be actually that the skip level boss is the main culprit, right? Because of his free hand that he has given to the to that your boss, these things are happening, right? Second is revolt. Now some people, what they do is that if the boss is known to be such a person, and the other team members, they all decide on revolting against that particular boss. Now this is again very risky strategy. Do it as at your own risk. If you want to do all these things, then it's your choice, but it requires very careful planning and all those things. And all the team members have to be committed and one, otherwise when it comes to putting forward your concerns to the HR, then some people may back out and all those things happen, right? So decide what is important to you. For me, what is more important is my own peace, right? If something is not working, I will want to leave the organization rather than doing all these things. But people do, these are like tactics that people do, so I'm just giving my view on that. Then going to HR. Now understand this thing, and sorry if there is any HR person in this who is listening, is HRs are, first of all, they are very weak, and most of the times they are not actually doing the HR work. They are actually just supporting business, right? On regarding fulfilling their kind of requirements and all. They are, in India, most of the organizations, I'm not saying about some very exceptional kind of organizations which have very strong HR. Otherwise you go to the HR, that actually means nothing. They only support the boss only, right? So you have a very little say or very little recourse while going to the HR. They are very weak, and they are not supportive, right? So again, going to them is a risk that you will be taking, right? So think on those things, right? Sexual harassment, if you're facing, definitely those, the mechanism is there. Now every organization has to have a kind of a committee who evaluates and all those things do. But again, evaluate, because then even if the action there, don't know what kind of an action is done, right? And what other way it comes on you, you don't know. So I mean, it's very very sorry state of affairs, but I'm just talking here about practical things. I'm not talking about something which is idealistic. Idealistic, you can do all these things, but in a practical level it doesn't work. Then okay, then my one thought is, देखो, at the end of the day, it is Nokri. In Hindi we call it Nokri. Nokri is knocker or a servant in Hindi, right? So at the end of the day, we are all servants, right? In job. So managing your boss is also an essential skill when you are doing a job. If you don't know how this skill, right, then you can cultivate it, learn how to cultivate it. In the 1 or 2 3 years in your job, corporate life, you'll understand, you'll know. But if still you are not very smart, like I was not very smart, right? I don't know how to play politics, and then better decide on getting out of this corporate thing, because in corporate the things become even more difficult as you move up, right? You have to do all these things, then your actually domain expertise has a very less role in your growth in the organization. And all these things, how you boss manage up and how you manage down. So you have to do both managing up, that means managing your bosses and managing your team. those skills become much more important. So if you can cultivate, start working on cultivating those skills if you want to remain in corporate. Otherwise, start something by the side, start working. You can like, if you have skills, you can like learn to be a coach or something. See if you have any other thing which you can do outside of the organization, and rather than being part of a organization, you can do something on the own. It has its own risks. I will make some other video sometime on that, right? So that is one thing. Now, one thing, if you have a repeat pattern of finding difficult bosses everywhere you go, then my suggestion is, see, a lot of times it is karmic also, right? Now again, this is spiritual. Some people will understand this what I'm saying, some people will not. Sometimes you have to clear your karma, right? It's a consequence of your past actions. So better to be at one place and deal and remain in that place, have a very good support system of your colleagues and all, rather than jumping from one job to another job, right? Because if that is what you are facing, then you might be have to face it in the next job also, right? So see if the challenges are mild and it can be worked out, and over time, you actually develop friends with your bosses, right? No matter how bad the boss is, sometimes you can like develop a rapport with him. Okay, this is how he is. Like you have your dad at home or your wife at home. No, everyone has flaws, but then you are okay. So try if that can be done. Now, some more perspectives is that Eckhart says three ways to deal with any situation. Either you can remove yourself from the situation, which is you can leave the job. You can change the situation. That means you can discuss and communicate and change the situation for the better, or you accept it fully. So if both things you cannot do right now, you are not able to find a job, you don't want to leave that job, and it is not, situation is not getting improved also. So then what you can do is accept this situation fully, because if you don't accept, then you create more pain for you. So what you can do is that you can take this difficult boss as your teacher, to help you take you deeper into presence, right? So what you can do is practice more and more mindfulness during the day, and whatever emotional reactions that come against your boss or whatever thoughts, start observing these thoughts. Make it your mindfulness practice. If you don't know about mindfulness and if you want to learn mindfulness, I also have a course on mindfulness in English. So if you are interested, you can maybe mention in the comments and you can get back to me, right? So take it as like your boss is teaching you present. One more thing what I will say is that actually if your boss is difficult, no, there is a larger scope of learning in that particular job, right? Because I have had bosses, they were so difficult, but they were so detail oriented. So every time I went to them, I had to be very very detail oriented in my work, so that really raised the quality of my work. Then there was another difficult boss that I've had. He was very difficult. He used to shout at people in front of others and all, but his one focus was that what we can do, the Q2 activities we can do in the organization. That means the developmental work, not the routine work. He was never happy that we were doing routine work. He says, what is better that you are doing, that tomorrow if we are not there and some other person is coming, how can we make things easier for that person? Right? So what I'm asking you is, don't always see the bad things about your boss, also see the good things about that particular boss, right? He might be teaching you certain good things by way of, you know his attitude may be bad, but under him you are learning a lot of. So from that boss I learned, always I use, then after that what I use, whichever organization I went, I focused on Q2 activities, developmental activities. That okay, we will make checklists, we will make processes, right? Not the routine stuff, right? So always don't forget that contribution that your bosses can make, right? Now, if you are if you cannot change, then what you can do is that have a daily meditation routine, right? See, you have to strengthen your inner core, right? So you cannot change things outside, so start working inside. How to work inside? Have a daily practice of meditation, morning and evening. Morning meditation will make you more grounded, more centered, more aware, right? You will see that your boss's negative behavior doesn't impact you during the day that much if you meditate in the morning and you practice mindfulness during the day. Evening, after you come from office, also meditate, so that whatever negative thing has been created, your energy is drained, that energy again lifts up. so you can spend better time with your family, right? So then you can do some like Ho'oponopono prayer, or you can do a daily journaling practice in the evening, or you can practice affirmations that I'm calm and relaxed. All those things you can do. Start working inside you, because you cannot change outside. You have to stay in the same job, but start working inside. Then one or more thing I will say is, don't gossip on the boss's flaws. So a lot of times what happens is, over a cup of tea and all with colleagues and all, we say all the bad things about the boss and all. See, if you have to be with those colleagues, just be with those colleagues, but don't go too much into finding bosses flaws. Otherwise, because when you do, what happens is your energy goes down. When I find fault with other people, my own energy levels go down. You can experiment, right? Instead, just, if you have decided that you have to continue in that organization for some time, just focus on doing your work and going home. Every day you come in the morning, do your work, don't take any offense, argument with your boss, do your work and go home, right? Forget about maybe developmental activities and all those things. Just kill your time in that particular organization till the time you find the next job, and do more of your meditation, morning evening meditation. Practice more and more mindfulness during the day. This will help you see off that time, right? Okay. uh, okay, let your boss's rebukes and all these behaviors be like a goat. Be egoless, right? Don't, no, it's a test of your own ego, right? The boss is, what he's doing is, he's actually burning your ego. Let the boss burn your ego. Let him say two things, and you can still, if you keep your smile on your face, that is your true test of your strength, right? So see if you can develop this, right? Okay, one final thing I will say before I close is, take this lesson, if you have seen a difficult boss, that I will not be like this for my colleagues. Generally, what happens is, this cycle keeps repeating yourself. I see a difficult boss, then I become a difficult, because I feel that if I have seen, if my bosses have given me so much pain, I will also pass that pain to my subordinates. But no, I will not be like that. So I have, in my personal life, I have seen a lot of difficult bosses, and I took a decision, I will not be like one. So whoever my subordinates have, they have always praised me. They have said, there are people who have seen from other teams, who have said that we want a boss like Abhinav, right? So be like that. Okay, whatever happened with me, that's fine, but I will not be like this for my other people, right? So these are some of the perspectives I went. Not everything you might be agreeing with me, that's perfectly fine, but I hope some insights you got. Finally, I will just say that I have a weekly newsletter on mindfulness. If you are interested on mindfulness, then do subscribe to the newsletter. The link is there, given there in the description. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do share your comments. I'll be really wanting to look at those comments and personally replying to them. Thank you so much, and bye. Take care.